Hello everybody, it's your boy, Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming here today, and something is out of place with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Okay, sit back, relax, put your feet up, okay? You ready? Picture this. You're me, right? You're drafting up this script and notes for a video on Xenoblade Chronicles 3, explaining why you love Chapter 5 so much. So you decide, hey, let's read the lyrics to A Step Away one more time. And you start reading them, and something is, clicking in your brain. Neurons are connecting. Dots are being connected to other dots. And go into this without the context that the song comes from Chapter 5. I'll read them off to you. I want you to tell me what you think. I got them from the Xeno series wiki. I'll leave that in the link to in the description down below. Here I am, staring at my own palms. I feel the warmth of your hand. I thought I'd be forever by your side, protecting you, assuming that's what you wanted to. Like, I felt like singing that bit, okay? I had no clue that we had nothing between us. Perhaps I was so scared to know the truth. Now that you're gone, and yet your love is still embracing me. I'm at a loss. I need you with me. It's like I'm drowning, as if I've lost the way. But you always appear as if you guide my way. I thought I could do it all. I had my confidence, but now I'm left alone with no one by my end. I knew my faults, but I pretended I didn't know. I fear I'm not the kind of man you know. I see you smile, pretending everything is alright, but that made me feel more in misery. I don't know where to start. There's nothing left for me. I know I've lost it all except the memories. When I have my chin up high, I see a glimpse of light, like how we find the brightest star up in the sky. I now have the courage to show you there is a way. You told me silently. I know what you will say. And when I search for you, I see a guiding light. It's now so clear to me that you're still far away, a step away. Thank you for coming to my slam poetry session. Only do these in the God of War streams. But one of the core themes of Xenoblade 3 is how things can be cyclical. The world itself is a giant circle, with the last zone in the center. Ouroboros' symbol is a snake eating itself in the shape of a circle. One of the core pillars of the game's story is how these characters live in this endless cycle of life, war, death, and rebirth. So would it really be surprising to find another instance in Xenoblade 3 where things repeat, another cycle begins? Because to me, if I played this entire game with no music and you showed me A Step Away and you read the lyrics like I just did for you all, I would probably tell you that it was the finale theme song. If we assume the lyrics are written from Noah's perspective, bear with me on this, this requires some explaining. The overall vibe works as a song where Noah is lamenting on losing Mio, realizing there was nothing between them too late in the game, and only having memories of her. Hell, with that one line, I know I've lost it all except the memories. You could argue the song is from Noah after Origin's events, and when he is back in the world of Bionis. He remembers the Agni and Offscene tune after all, and we know Mio remembers Noah and her feelings for him from the final save screen, but that fog is becoming so thick, she can barely even remember his silhouette. It would follow that Noah is going through a similar experience at some point after Origin activated. Maybe it's right after the final scene of him disappearing after hearing the Agni and Offscene tune, or maybe it's a few years down the line, but that general time period would fit with this song. And when I search for you, I see a guiding light. It's now so clear to me that you're still far away, a step away. He is literally searching for Mio at the very end of the game. I see a guiding light could be a metaphor for the Agni and Offscene tune. If that sounds a little bit out there, think of this. When the Agni and Offscene tune is played in-game, you always saw motes of ether floating up in the sky, ever higher, and they believed it was the souls or some remnant of the departed being guided onwards. So even that fits with a little bit of metaphor. And let's be honest, it's a metaphor-heavy song. Do I even need to explain the "you're still far away, a step away" bit, they are literally in a different world from one another. They are moving where those worlds are moving away from each other. They are literally worlds, hell, universes apart, with nothing left of each other but vague memories that are constantly being more and more smothered by fog. I've made a couple videos at this point on the Xenoblade 3 soundtrack and why I love it so much and how I feel they add to the storytelling with the music, because they use the music as a piece of the puzzle. If you want the full picture, the complete mural of these characters' story arcs and their emotional states and what they are thinking and processing, then you need to listen to the music, how it ebbs and flows, when it crescendos in the scene, when it gets cut off, and what the lyrics are trying to convey to you. A lot of the time when it comes to the Xenoblade songs with lyrics, the lyrics themselves are written vague enough where you can draw up a comparison to the in-game events or your own personal life if you want. The songs for 2 and Where We Belong in 3 are a great example of this. Because I'm not saying Where We Belong doesn't belong as this game's finale theme. It absolutely does. I'm just saying there's an interpretation to be had where A Step Away could be viewed as the ending theme, because it also works. Where the entire story loops back to that jail scene in Chapter 5 where Noah and Mio are separated a mere step away from an outside perspective, but in their view, worlds apart. And sure, I get that the Mio in the cell was actually M, but through Noah's perspective, it was Mio, and that's the important bit again, because Xenoblade has always been a series where they base their stories on perspectives, and how those perspectives can change or advance a story, how it can lead a character to think, act, or believe certain things, and Noah at the end of the game is in a very similar position as he was at the end of Chapter 5, or throughout most of Chapter 5. You can personally view it as either in the jail cell or watching M fade at the eclipse. Either works honestly, because the root point I'm trying to make is that they are separated, and it feels in that moment that although they may be a step away from each other physically, they are metaphorically worlds apart, which is where the game ends up. Especially when you consider that final scene of them trying to run towards each other as the worlds are literally splitting apart. They're not physically far away from each other, but they're being pulled apart. They and Ouroboros are willing to sacrifice their own happiness with each other to step into a brave, new, uncertain future. They sacrifice their own selfish desires for the greater good of giving humanity that freedom of choice back so they aren't stuck in this perpetual cycle of war. But wait a minute, Chapter 5 also had them sacrificing themselves for the greater good, didn't it? Remember the prison break, when Noah and Ouroboros stayed behind and were willing to die to let the others get away? Do you see the genius of Monolith Soft's writing? Because their genius is that on the surface you are told a complete and fulfilling story. Beginning, middle, and end. Job done, right? But if you are willing to pick away at the layers and venture deep into the weeds of how they construct and tell their story, examine every layer, you can start to grasp why this story was so compelling to begin with. And it can give you a newfound appreciation of what you experience. And maybe you find out why you found it so compelling to begin with. Or it makes it even better, almost recontextualizes various events or interpretations. Xenoblade is a brilliant series with some of my favorite stories ever told. And that's the beauty of storytelling. A slight change of perspective can flip everything upside down. Because whether or not this was intended, I think it's a neat intricacy of the story at large. It's at least an interesting after effect, or something to just think about. Death of the authors, the birth of the reader, and all that. But it's Monolith, so let's be honest, it probably was intended on some level. There's way too many other cyclical natures and aspects to this game, when I would think this one thing just unintended. And you know what's kind of funny? Because when you really think about it, before you wrap up here, when we really think about it, right? If A Step Away is part of the cycle and everything, and it could fit as the finale song, then, logic would dictate that Where We Belong, which is the finale song, could, work as a Chapter 5 song. That couldn't possibly be it, right? Right? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, maybe it could. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it could. Well, maybe if you tune in next time, we can find out together. Because I got a feeling Xenoblade 3 has a few more secret gems to find. And I'm gonna call the video there for the day. I love Xenoblade 3, and I love its music, and I love its soundtrack, and I love how it's incorporated into the games, how it furthers the storytelling, and how many different interpretations you could have, because your interpretation could be completely different than mine. Maybe you just don't vibe with the one I just presented to you. That's entirely fine. We all interpret stories differently. I'm not saying that what I presented to you in this video is the end-all, be-all, the only interpretation that could exist. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, hey, it's a neat little interpretation you could have about this. One of the cool aspects of Xenoblade 3's story, in my opinion, is the more and more you peel back the layers, the more and more layers, almost like an ogre, if you will, like an onion, the more and more layers there really are to it. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on the Xenoblade 3 A Step Away song. And let me know. Did Chapter 5 get you? Did it get you? Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions. Because I'm still gonna make that Chapter 5 video. Don't worry, that's coming. Oh, it's coming. Don't worry. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.